What's up, everyone? We are live. I'm gonna give some people a few minutes to get in, so I'm gonna go ahead and start tweeting the link. Give me a second. Share Twitter. All right, so share that, and let me go ahead and share the Hangouts link if you want to ask questions on the Hangout. All right, cool. How's everyone doing? It is me and Ricky, and how's it going? Michael will be joining us in roughly 20-30 minutes. So this is the first 401k meeting. I guess it's kind of like a pre-meeting, which would be, I guess, like the second pre-meeting. But anyway, talk to some lawyers, ask some, logistical legal questions about, what we need to do to make sure that we are in all state and federal compliance, et cetera, et cetera. And based off the information we got, we think we have a pretty solid structure on where we want to go. But before we get into that, this is Ricky Mason. On Twitter, he's Ricky Mason 502. One of my best friends, business partners, and one of the smartest engineers I know. So just give him 30 seconds to introduce himself.
Yeah, so I'm Ricky from Louisville. An electrical engineer by degree, master's at Johns Hopkins, ABD, PhD at UK. Kind of what I was doing up until last year was working at UK in the College of Agriculture, kind of teaching. I developed 2 courses there and also developed electronics and control systems for automated tractor systems, drones, and various other electronic systems involving ag in the growing process. Now kind of working on a startup I started back in 2012, Bionic Innovations. So that's kind of what we're here doing with 401k apps, but I'm also an investor. So more so started out investing in real estate about 5 years ago. And kind of that allowed me the freedom and the opportunity to kind of start up a few other companies like Brainstem University, teaching kids computer science, robotics, and engineering, and start the Jack Mason Wealth Group also. So, yeah.
Awesome. So, Ricky actually is the one who had the idea for 401k apps, and my company, Genius Allegiance, which I'm CTO of, and Michael Fly, Peter Popoff on Twitter. He's CEO. So, we write apps. Well, I mean, we're all app developers, but Genius Allegiance specializes in writing apps, and I have been personally doing the app flipping game for a few years. And Ricky had the initial concept of 401k apps. So we decided we're going to come together, and we're going to basically form a partnership under the name 401k apps. So how we're going to go about doing this is that we're going to start out slow, and we're going to do a case study. So this case study is going to last 3 months, in which time, and this is going to be, open. We're going to be as transparent as we can. So, we're going to be showing our profit, our loss, the income from the app, projected income for the app, and you guys can watch and see how our first initial investment portfolio is doing. After this 3 months, we will take an initial 10 people. And Ricky, do you want to explain basically what we're going to do?
Yeah. So you kind of think of this, and we're calling this 401k apps because this kind of works just like a 401k. The good thing with this kind of thing is you invest for a certain period of time and then it pays for itself. And you're kind of an investor in a tech portfolio of apps, different web apps, SaaS apps.
Yeah.
You never know what might end up in your portfolio. But right now, we're going to start out with games. So as you invest over time, you build your equity within that portfolio. And as that portfolio gains revenue, you kind of see where your equity starts to grow and kind of worked it out to at about the 5-year mark, your app is kind of self-sufficient and it's paying for itself. So looking for about a 10-year hold period for your app portfolio, and don't think of it as you're holding one app or 10 apps or 20 apps for a certain amount of time. It's just your portfolio. The performance of that app portfolio will meet a certain level of revenue to cover all expenses for the app app portfolio for the next, say, 10 years or 5 years after the 5-year investment period.
Right. So so after we do our 3-month case study, that's when we're going to start taking the initial 10 people. So the way we're going to form this is actually by creating trust. So these initial 10 people, we're going to create irrevocable trust, and this trust is going to hold the apps, with you all being the beneficiary, the 10 people who are selected being the beneficiary of that trust. And then as Ricky was explaining, you're going to be vesting in to this portfolio. So for the first 10 people, we're going to do 1 year vesting period. So that so over the first, for the first year, you basically have to watch your money sit and grow. Afterwards, after that first year, you're fully vested into that portfolio, invested into the trust. You can start collecting your payments. And of course, if an app is sold within that time, of course, that goes into the corpus of the trust. That's the high level, really simplistic view of how that's going to look. But yes, essentially, we're going to form this with 401k is going to be another legal entity that is a partnership between Bionic Innovations and the Genius Allegiance. And then as we do groups of 10, each investor group is going to have we're going to form a trust with those app portfolios, with them being the beneficiaries. That's
pretty much the how to go. Each app will be in its own trust, and then each portfolio will be its own trust. And the investors in that portfolio will be kind of the beneficiaries of that trust. Yeah.
Cool. So for anybody who's watching right now, do you have any questions so far about what that looks like? Do you have any questions about the case study? And just to reiterate, during this case study, it's just going to be Ricky, myself, and Mike putting in our own money. We're going to do the process as a group. And, like I said, we're going to have a transparent process so you can see the, growth and decay of the portfolio over these 3 months. So like I said, we're very comfortable with risking our own money. We know that this is going to work. So we want to, show you guys that by putting in our own money. 3 months, choosing that time because that's long enough for you to start seeing a return on your investment. But
at least start seeing where the portfolio is going and
right.
How we're building and creating more wealth by marketing these apps and developing new apps and adding our own twists to some of the apps that we've already kind of acquired or have developed.
Right.
I think this also opens up opportunities for people to invest in small startups, apps that we've developed or come up with, but we just don't have the time or bandwidth to complete right now. So with those monthly investments, that would allow us to, hire more engineers, more people to kind of help develop and get these ideas off the ground. And we're talking about return on investment, and apps overnight, can blow up. So that's what we're really looking to do to help more people try to create wealth and get into that startup and entrepreneurship market.
Exactly. So basically, and I spoke on this on the last live stream. We're going to start off acquiring established businesses, established apps. After we prove this out, we do want to move on to things like, all right, now let's all pull money together to fund startups. The startups that the VCs, traditional VCs, overlook, which are very lucrative ideas, very positive ideas. They could disrupt business. They could disrupt society, in a positive way. But VCs tend to overlook those. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons is because they don't. A lot of startups don't require a huge investment of capital. And traditional investors, they're traditionally looking, they're trying to get their 10x return. So, 30,000 to make 300,000 when they can go find a company that they can put in 10 million and potentially make 100 million. So they'd like to stick with the startups that, are going to bring in, they can max out their 10x return that they're looking for.
And also, I think that, some of these large startups, they are great for what they do, but they don't do the job exactly right of solving some of our local issues. And this will allow some local entrepreneurs and local investors to invest in local startups that solve your local issues. And we can get some of these local issues solved quicker. And also, once we start getting these issues solved locally, we'll find that these issues have a larger use. So we can develop apps there that are Kentucky based, but can be used in California, that can be used all across the Midwest or South. So that's kind of the twist that we're looking to, to build upon. And then once we start creating wealth in economics, that group economics, more people, more wealth in our city, in our state, then we can start to see some of these things that we want to see in downtown Louisville that we, ask for and beg for, but we're not seeing it because we don't have the people, the founders, we don't have the wealth here. And that starts with what entrepreneurs, the startups, businesses. So us creating more businesses also creates a better life for us who live, in Louisville, in this city, in Kentucky.
And you can replace Louisville with, any place. Yeah. The concept is, there's a lot of opportunity in locality. So the startup in Houston that only affects Houston, investors in DC or Silicon Valley might not care about, but it could really help the people of Houston. All right, well, let's pull that together. What do they need? You only need 50K. All right, cool. Let's put it together. 10 people at 5. So really looking to disrupt the market in that aspect so that we can self-fund, our own startups.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it comes down to. So, there's no reason, the idea of Uber, that Uber wasn't the first company to come up with the concept of ride sharing.
No. They were just the first to do it well.
They were just the first, yeah, and do it enough to, get the funding that they needed. But my point is, there's ride sharing services that already focus on locality, right? And they don't get as much funding, but they could easily, if they got that funding, they could appeal to that local market. And not every startup is out to try to make $1 billion a year. That some of them are really comfortable with making 8,000 to 10,000 a year, and they only need $10,000 in funding. They just don't have it up front.
So let me talk to a few of these people that just kind of joined us.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about is 401k apps. So 401k apps is a way for investors to invest in app portfolios, either with lump sum. So say you might have $5,000, $10,000 to invest in an app portfolio, or you might want to invest over time. So you want to invest $200, $500 a month, or even $1,000 a month in an investment portfolio over, say, 5 years. And over the next 5 years, we'll watch that portfolio grow and look to sell kind of at the 10-year mark. So yeah, that's what 401k apps is. And if you want to check out the website, it's 401k-apps.com.
Yes, and let me go ahead and put that URL in the chat. So once again, it's HTTPS, :/401k-apps.com. So that brings me to the next part, which is how are we going to? We said that we're going to be open with our progress of the portfolio for the case study, and how we're going to do that. So we're going to do that in the form of a newsletter, membership newsletter. So when I spoke about last week that, once we open it up, we're going to do weekly meetings, and we're all going to be doing voting on how the portfolios and stuff are going to be monitored and bought and bid on, et cetera, et cetera. So during this trial run phase, you can sign up on 401k apps, and you can register and subscribe to be on our newsletter. And we'll also do, like, we can do screen shares and phone calls, et cetera, et cetera. But members on 401k apps who sign up will be able to see our progress, see our portfolio, know when the next meetings are, because this is going to be the last open 401k app public video where we're talking about business. After that, it's going to be getting down to business.
And most likely what we're going to start with is our games, because games make the highest return. People play games all day. If they get hooked on a game, people are going to play it, and those are the easiest things to generate revenue from, especially from the ad growth and ad revenue. So if you want to check out a few of the games that we have now on the market that we're kind of one is a Saga Monker, the Jungle Warrior. That's only on Android, and then we have
but it will be on iOS. We got ported. It's ported to iOS as a Unity game, so we'll be able to that'll be on iOS. We also have a Throwing Knife Shot, which, once again, that's on Android, but it's also a Unity game, so we're going to port that. And then we have Pocket Jump.
Yeah, we got Pocket Jump coming in.
Yeah,
Pocket Jump, really fun.
Yeah, that one's actually grossing the most money of anything on there right now, which is really fun. That is, I believe that one's Construct or Ionic, one of the two, but something that can be ported to iOS. So, it was a great bundle we got. Actually, one of the developers that we bought one of the apps from has a whole other portfolio that we negotiated a price for, and we're thinking about grabbing those as a price of 3. It's 3 apps for the price of basically 1.5. It was a steal. So we're going to throw that into the portfolio, and we're already running ad revenue, ad campaigns, so we're trying to grow that. I'm gonna find the links to the game so you can actually download them.
Yeah, I think I posted Saga Monker on my Facebook, but I haven't posted anywhere else so far. Okay. Maybe Throwing Knives too, but
all right, I'll just grab it from the Play Store. Yes. But yeah, so members are going to be able to get transparent access. Help build the rapport, help build the trust, and then I feel like after these 3 months, everyone will be more, they'll feel safer because we put up our money first, which I'm never scared to do. We have someone new join the Hangouts. Is it Kiera? Is that right? You're muted. Yeah, I'll mute you. Maybe muted on purpose. Oh no. Well, if you have any questions and you want to join if you have any questions and you want to ask them, join the Google Hangout. I'm going to put the link on here one more time. And you can ask, or if you're on the Instagram live, you can just you can request to be on the live, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. You'll just request to be on the live, and ask your question. Here's Google Hangouts. All right. Cool. All right, but yeah, if you have any questions, come on over to the Google Hangouts. Introduce yourself. Ask that we want this. We want Q&A. We want user interaction.
And again, we're talking about 401k apps for anybody that just joined us again. 401k apps is a way to invest in apps and app portfolios. Kind of think of like Facebook or a Uber or anything kind of like that. You will get the opportunity to invest in things like that through investing with 401k apps. So this is kind of the beginning. Like I said, we're starting out with games, because games are kind of the quickest and easiest thing to grow revenue from when investing in apps. But in the future, we'll be doing other things such as, like I said, like
SaaS apps.
SaaS apps. If you're not familiar with what SaaS is, it's software as a service. So what would be a good example of a SaaS app that most people use if they wouldn't?
Uber.
Yeah.
Netflix. Subscription-based SaaS. HBO Go. Anything Pro. Tinder Basic is a SaaS app. I mean, all of those are SaaS apps.
But also even purchasing maybe domains in the future. So maybe some domains are some cool names that we might think will be popular in the future, or maybe even trademarking certain names or quotes or things like that we think will be profitable in the future. So these opportunities will kind of grow, and there'll be more opportunities to invest in as we kind of get this thing under wraps, especially legally. I mean, because once we figure out the legality behind the 401k apps, then that just ports over to other businesses also. So
absolutely. I'm about to do a screen share. Give me one moment. I'm going to show you guys the 401k apps website and go over the process for sign up for the newsletter for those who are interested. Because right now, that's pretty much the only way to really support right now while we're doing the case study. Because like I said, we want to run this case study for at least 3 months. So just give me one while I'm doing this. Do you want to talk about the different our future plans for the different packages, the types of
Oh, you're talking about the different types of investments.
The different types of investments. Yes.
So I guess I'll kind of work backwards on the investments. So I'm thinking if we have our lump sum group, say, and I'm just using numbers right now. So that lump sum group might be investors that come in at $10,000. You're looking to invest $10,000 in an app portfolio in a lump sum, and we're looking to start receiving a return on that investment, or breaking even on that investment after 5 years. And say that was 10 to 20 investors that were in that group. And what would that investment go to cover? As we said before, in the initial stages, that investment will go to cover expenses for a developer. So the developers that are working on the app full time, creating new levels, maintenance for the app, customer support for issues with the app, marketing for the app, advertisement of the app, the management of kind of that whole app project. It's kind of a whole, each one of these apps is like a mini company. So you got to think of it, of all the overhead also that's got to be covered.
If any of the apps scale, experience hypergrowth, and they get to a point where, we have like a Flappy Bird situation that's making $30,000 a day. Like we're gonna have to pay for people to handle accounting. We're gonna have to pay for people like DevOps. Um, we got to think about things like scaling as well.
Yeah. So these investments, yes, you're investing in an app, but you're also investing in like a company. So you're kind of almost each one of these apps is a mini startup in itself. But breaking that down, then we'll have smaller investments where you come in with an initial lump sum, and then you agree to invest, say, $500 a month for 5 years, or you agree to do $250 a month for so long. And don't quote me, or think these numbers are set in stone, but it'll be something around that. Kind of think of it as your 401k, just like you have now. So most 401ks, you start working at 18 or 22 or 20, mid 20s, and you work that job for 40 years, and you're investing in that 401k for 40 years. You're putting in, your percentage of, say, 5%, and your company's putting in a 5%. So you're growing at 10%, what you're putting in per year, plus the stock market average of about 6 to 8% per year. We're talking about doubling, maybe, at least 33% to 50% gains in 10 years. So if you do that every 4 years, you can kind of look at just the difference and the growth in your investment versus a traditional 401k. And growing those opportunities again, like I said, with other things. So, we're looking at doing the same concept with real estate. So giving people an opportunity to buy into real estate portfolios and packages over time. So you can, a lot of people say, it's hard for me to come up with a lump sum to buy a house or for a down payment or to get a loan for a property. But if you come in with a solo 401k, you can kind of pay, solo 401k, that's a whole nother thing. But if you come in with 401ks like real estate and you buy into a real estate portfolio over time, then you can kind of circumvent some of those barriers of getting into investing in real estate with that lump sum investment.
Right. I'm just about ready. I had to make a change, push it up to the provision. Joe Thunder, you said Office 365. I'm sorry. What about Office 365? Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. All right, so yeah, so the newsletter, like I said, we're gonna do monthly newsletter. So basically, we're gonna get 3 newsletters. They're gonna have basically all the reports, stuff such as user acquisition, so how many installs versus uninstalls for the month, the revenue for that month and how it's doing versus how much we're spending on ads, the projection for growth. Kentucky Green, so creating an index fund and REIT portfolios.
Basically, yeah.
That's the model that I was thinking.
But allowing people to invest over time is kind of the idea, similar to a REIT.
Yeah. So you go with the idea, like you invest in one stock and it can go up or go down, you can lose your money. But if you invest in a mutual fund, you're investing in a whole pot. So it's like mutual fund or REIT for virtual real estate, for apps. So we're buying these apps, for under market value and fixing them up. So a lot of them don't even need to be fixed up. They just really need to be marketed. So, and listen, we have Desmond. Desmond has a question. He wants to pop up on the. Oh, it said he declined. Okay, all right, cool. So, yeah, that was weird. So basically, we're going to invest in a whole bunch of apps that so a lot of them are already making money, and then we're going to enhance the marketing on them, enhance the features, and then all it takes is for one of them to pop off. So like, let's go back to traditional venture capitalists. They invest in 10 apps, 10 startups, hoping for one of those to give them a 10x return. That's generally the formula. So we're going to do the same thing, but on a micro scale. So instead of putting millions of dollars into an app, which eventually we want to be able to get to that level. We want to be able to do the whole range, but we're buying apps that are in the hundreds and thousands range, and building those up. And hey, if a VC firm wants to come in and buy one of those apps for X amount, then great. That's more, then we just cash that out to everyone who's in that trust.
But then again, the difference is we're also allowing opportunities to invest in local kind of startups and local businesses. So you can meet the founder of this company that you're investing in versus you're, in a read or something online on Fidelity. You don't know who you're really investing in. You don't know,
right?
You don't really know this person. So with the opportunities that we'll be allowing for people to invest in local businesses, we'll kind of stage meetings where you can meet the founders of that business and get to know them from on a personal standpoint versus just looking at them on paper and looking at the numbers. So you can kind of get invested in startups and entrepreneurs locally early before they're an Uber and you're having to go to Fidelity and buy their stock.
Right, exactly. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up go ahead and start screen sharing. But before I do that, I see we have some more people who joined the Hangouts. Either Joe or Malik, did you guys have any questions, anything you want to ask? You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question. Oh, hey, Initial A, how you doing? So Initial A asks, is it a series of micro investments?
Yeah, so yes. Basically each kind of group that invests in a certain portfolio will be a part of each trust, and they'll have an investment portfolio that we manage that they're invested in. And then there'll be opportunities to invest in other portfolios, and these portfolios will kind of change and grow as kind of 401k apps grows. And allow for other investment opportunities, like we said, into local startups and local businesses or apps that we've developed or plan to develop. So some of these things, like I know a lot of people come to me and ask me, hey, would you mind developing this app for me basically for free? And I'll give you a percentage in the app. But I mean, yes, that's great and all, but it's a lot of time to develop an app, and to do it for free just for the potential in an app isn't really feasible for me to do. And I know, I understand like people's standpoint when they come to me with an app, because I mean, yeah, it's probably a great idea, but the time and that it's going to take for that app to actually, be for me to even receive the return that I've put in would be it's kind of long and ridiculous. But with this is a way for, if you have other people that buy into your idea and they believe in it, then you might be able to get 10 investors to invest monthly in the development and maintenance and the advertisement of kind of your app idea. So that's kind of where 401k apps is just a huge opportunity for local investors and kind of people with just ideas to get them off the ground.
So I was screen sharing, but I noticed we had a question from Joe Thunder. Joe asked, do you have a roadmap / project timeline for ROI? Sorry if you answered this already. So it depends. So it's depending on the types of apps. So some apps, we're looking to expect an ROI around the 10 to 12 month mark. But
most investments,
most of them are going to be
about 5 years is our break even mark for most investments. And then about the 6 year mark, we start to become profitable. And we're looking at probably selling those portfolios in about 10 years. So kind of look at the dividend growth and the growth of the portfolio over that time. We're looking at, like I said, 30 to even 100% returns, just 30% on the safe side, I would say.
Right. So it's like quality versus quantity type thing, right? So, like I said, some apps, but we're not trying to target those because those are like lower quality. Like if somebody, for example, somebody only wants $75 for an app and it's only producing $1 to $2 or $5 to $10 a month, but not because it's not marketable, not because the game's not complete. It's just it's just a crappy product. There's not really much you can do with a crappy product.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do is you're just keeping that for just residual income and letting that make it $5-10 for 10 months and getting your money back. We're not looking at those. We're trying to find the high quality apps, and those are going to take 3 to 5. Or yeah, Maya. How you doing, Maya?
Hi, Jerome. So I don't know how I got on here. My video just started. Anyway, I did have a question. Uh, it sounds like um we'll be looking to also turn these apps to more than just apps, but also startups and businesses. Am I
So
correct?
Somewhat.
So it's like right now we're focusing on just app acquisition, but at some point in time we would like to get to a point when, as a group, it makes sense with the revenue and capital we have to take some of that branch off and to invest into tech startups that are up and
Okay.
coming. So that's a future roadmap vision, but that's
Okay.
that's where we're wanting to go.
Okay, I see. Because the only reason I had concerning that was regarding team building. So it seems like it's a small team right now, but when you get to that point, things can really scale and scale almost out of control.
Exactly.
So, huh?
I said exactly.
Right, right. So, just curious about that, about what the team looks like, more like.
Oh, you mean
So
the team of engineers and developers?
yeah, and if you're gonna expand it to that level of building startups and businesses and whatnot, um just be clear that you will have um a fully functional and well-rounded team. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, definitely. So, I mean, as far as currently,
Yeah, the short term and long term.
Yeah. I mean, as far as development skills, I mean, between the three of us, we have 30, 40 years of experience developing.
Okay.
And a little bit about me, kind of my degrees in electrical engineering, but kind of self-taught computer science. Kind of started out with C++, working at UK, worked for the government for a while, developing systems. But most recently, I worked at UK developing remote and autonomous systems for agriculture, from apps to autonomous tractors, drone systems, things like that. So my skill set is kind of broad as far as development, and then crossing over from the electronics to the computer science side to drone. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's pretty much
Yeah, I mean,
the ground that we leave uncovered.
Now, but also too, part of the fees, like I said, this is going. So each app is going to be different, right? So like one game might be written in Unity. That means we need a couple of Unity developers for that
right.
app for this purpose, right? One app might be a drop shipping site. That's a WordPress. So we're going to need a WordPress team and also probably a DevOps guy.
Yeah.
If the traffic is really high.
And yeah, the level of effort for each one of these, is going to be different for a WordPress site versus a gaming app versus a social media, site where we're having to deal with a lot of DevOps. So,
and that's what we look at before we buy the app too. We have to factor that in. How much, if we win or if we acquire this app, how much is it going to cost us to maintain this app? Not just in money, but in time. So what kind of engineers are we going to need? Some apps, we're going to stick with the game example. Games don't require a whole lot of overhead once you're in maintenance mode, right? So after the app is ready, it's like production ready, you're just doing things like adding new levels, new skin, stuff like that. That level of effort isn't as intense as if we buy a SaaS app And you know, we're trying to add it. You know, one thing we want to do is add a new product feature to that SaaS
Mm-hmm.
app. And this SaaS app has 31,000 people. We're managing. You know, we have the database, and we have this, that, and the third. We're gonna have to do more continuous integration, more more architectural planning, stuff of that nature.
That's
So
kind of
those
why
kind of apps are going to be, so that all that has to be thought of. That there's no one size fits all answer,
and that's why we have
team's
like
gonna be different.
a 5-year return on investment, timeline. So
Oh,
5 years.
I see.
Yeah. So your initial investment, you're just like when you kind of you pay your mortgage, right? So you're kind of paying more in interest at first. So initially we're paying more for those people to help with the development of the app, the maintenance of the app, and make sure that we're getting our return on investment. So that's kind of
Got
what
you.
the investment.
Yeah, no. I mean, I really love this. I really love this. This initiative. It makes a whole lot of sense. So I appreciate you guys sharing this with the public the way you did. So yeah, I'm on board. I just had a few clarifications to make. So
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, yeah. All good. All good. Now I'm gonna try to see how I can get off the video.
Thank you, though. That was
Thank
really
you.
good.
Yeah, that was a
Appreciate it.
lot of great questions.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
No problem. Joe or Malik, did you have a question? Did I answer your question, Joe? I mean, I know I answered, but like, did that answer your question? Yes, it did. All right, awesome, cool. Does anyone else have any other questions before I do the screen share? Let's see. Check YouTube. Check Hangouts. All right, cool. So let me start the screen share. So here we are, 401k-apps.com. Oh yeah, I got your Instagram. So right now, basically, we just have the about, still working on the verbiage and whatnot. If anybody wants to help with that, feel free to DM me. We'll throw you a little something. And then we have the registration, and based on the registration, you can sign up for the newsletter. And also to, this is only going to last for, we're going to keep the newsletter after the 3 months. So like if people just want to subscribe to the newsletter and they feel comfortable doing, I guess, like a solo approach, and they just want to, basically get some knowledge and stuff, you can sign up for the newsletter. And then when we have the different investor levels, it'll be in the subscription plan as well. But right now, the only thing you can sign up for is the newsletter. So you can sign up for $50 a month or $500 for the year. There we go. And then once you sign up, basically, there's gonna be a dashboard. We're gonna have your notifications. It's gonna when we have Google Hangouts. As I was talking about, our reports, our financial reports, like profit and loss, user acquisition, et cetera, et cetera. All this will be available on the dashboard at any level. And right now we only have the newsletter level, but like I said, we're gonna have different investor levels, and that's where we're gonna be making the monthly contributions, et cetera, et cetera. And depending on your level, your dashboard will have more actions available to you. But so for everyone who wants to support right now, go ahead, and the app is live, 401k-apps.com. Sign up for the newsletter. We're going to put out we can have our first newsletter out in the next
couple of weeks or so.
Because we already have, basically what we're doing is we're consolidating all the apps that we've gotten solo, that we've done solo. We're going to put them all into 401k, transfer everything over, and we'll start the case study. And so at the minimum, we'll be having the newsletters. But like I said, I still want to have the Hangouts. I still, because I want you. it's very important and vital for the business that we get your questions. No business ever goes how like their founders originally created it.
Right.
User experience and user interaction defines a business. So it's very important that the phone died. Very important that we get feedback. So, and of course, all everything that is invested in the newsletter and stuff, we're that's all going to eventually go towards. That's all going towards acquiring more apps, and a portion that we're going to hold for the initial 10 people. Yeah. So when you guys are ready to come on board, we're gonna match and we're gonna get this thing rolling. That's pretty much it that I have on there. So let me stop the screen sharing and let me go ahead and put the link in the chat, both the chats. Does anyone have any more questions this far? Because really at this point, it's on us to get back with the lawyers, get all of our legal structure together, and go ahead and start this case study. And let's see, what is it? It's June, July, August, September. Yeah. So what, Q3 ends October 15th?
Yeah, like so Q4 be looking out
for
the
Q4
results.
Yep. Around Q4, man, we're gonna be ready to start rolling to 2020. Yeah. 2020 with it.
So 2020 tax season, perfect opportunity to invest. So yeah, we'll be ready.
All right. Cool. So I guess let's see, the last how long have we been on? We've been on here for about almost an hour. All right, cool. All right, so last 5 minutes, I'm gonna leave it up. Joel or Malik or Maya, anyone in the chat, if y'all in the Hangouts, if you have any questions, anybody in the YouTube chat, do you have any questions?
Go ahead and drop the link to
let me go ahead.
Like website and stuff on there. Did you already do that? So people check it out. So
I'll drop it and I'll add it to the description too. Is it biolickinnovations.com?
No, Ricky Mason 502.
Ricky Mason 502.com.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody check out Ricky's stuff. I'm gonna put that on there. I'll put his Twitter handle in the description.
Yeah, same handle on Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, Ricky Mason 502.
It's funny because Ricky and I, we went to college together. We were both in Nesby. He was the president, I was the treasurer, and we also talk about real estate and apps. And he got into real estate 5 years ago, and that's when I started app flipping and stuff. And I was like, man, just do apps. And he's like, man, do real estate. And now we doing
apps and real estate.
Apps and real estate. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
which one?
Which link isn't working? The 401k apps link or Ricky Mason 502? Oh, Ricky Mason 502. So your server down? Wait. That's weird. Ricky Mason, RICKYMASON 502.com.
Put www.
Oh, do you not have the www?
No, I should have it. No,
or you only have www?
No, it should be both.
Yeah, well, yeah, you need to. Your A records. Yeah, your A records are messed up. It's www. There you go. Yeah, it's a DNS thing. Wait, is that in DigitalOcean? Yeah. All right. Cool. Let me go ahead and put that back in there. Thank you for pointing that out, Joe.
It's sitting right here, though.
Yeah, that's weird. Oh, do you have the cert pointing? You have to have the cert point to the base domain and the www unless you have a catch-all, a wild card cert.
I did the wild card cert, but
yeah. Nerd talk. All right, guys. I think that is everything. Definitely going to do another hangout next week for the newsletter holders. That if you sign up on the newsletter, you're going to get email notifications, and eventually I'm going to have push notifications, web push notifications, or text. You'll be able to choose. But right now, email notifications, database notifications. So every time there's going to be a new event going on, the links to download status reports, et cetera, that's going to be on your dashboard and in your email. So everyone go ahead and sign up for the newsletter, and be looking forward for the link for next week. And I think that's everything. Ricky, is that everything?
Yeah, I think that's everything. I mean, yeah, just be looking forward to the newsletter. It'll have more details about the legality and how we're going to work out the trust, and results of the case study. So
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Talk to y'all later.